Hello, YouTubers. I am glad you are here. And per usual, it's just going to be a minute until we get some folks in the room here. TikTok always takes a few extra seconds. Not sure exactly why, but it is what it is. Hello, Jeffrey Berg. Glad you're here. Hello, Gunnar. Glad you're here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, Clouded Mind. I'm glad that you are here too. I am just giving it a moment for a couple of more people to enter the room. Hey, it's Smokey D. Hey, it's Mac4117. Hey, it's Nasty Nate. Everybody's here today. There's Sky Captain. Hey, Joey V. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Glad you're all here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Josh. I was a porn addict for 24 years. I was an alcoholic for 22 years. I have been clean and sober for the last 11 years, and I also have been relapse-free the entire time. About 8 years ago, I moved into this area as a pornography addiction coach, as a betrayal trauma coach, and as a therapeutic disclosure specialist. So I can help the addict of pornography, I can help their partner deal with the betrayal trauma, and I also can work with the couple to build communication and trust. So that's what I do now. I've written 4 books about this stuff, both porn addiction and betrayal trauma. I've done the TED Talk thing. I've given hundreds of interviews. But I'm here today to answer any questions you may have about pornography addiction. Or betrayal trauma, or communication between couples. I would be more than happy to answer any of your questions, to take any of your comments, give any educated opinions that I can. I am more than happy to be here for you. So just let me know anything you need. Alrighty. I'm going to go ahead and answer the question that almost everybody asks multiple times during one of my lives, so we might as well start out with that. And that is, how do you quit? How do you quit? Whether you are the addict or you are the partner, you're very interested in how the act of quitting. Hey, Neo, good to see you. Glad you're here. How do you begin to quit? How do you begin to quit? And that is by having an eye towards recovery. Not just an eye towards quitting. Not just, I kind of know why I should quit, or I know it's not good for me. You have to figure out, why must you quit? Why must you quit? While there's a few of you here and I explain this answer, could you tap up some likes? We're very early in the live. That makes all the difference between having, thousands of people here and having hundreds of people here. If you can tap up the likes, just tap, 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 tap on the screen, and that will help us, because you never know who needs to hear this stuff. You never know who is going to have their life changed by falling upon this room. I have probably met 75% of my clients through TikTok. And this is how they heard of me first. So we can change lives in here. Maybe you don't need this information, but maybe your taps are the one that's going to make somebody or make this show up on somebody's page. So anyway, I'm going to go back to what I was talking about, which was the quitting part. What is your must? What is your motivation individually? And keep in mind, this isn't like a diet. This isn't like you're just trying to quit for 30 days. You need to make massive lifestyle changes. You need to make major mindset changes. This is not going on a diet. This is about, losing 200 pounds and keeping it off. This is about truly changing. And what you have to do is figure out why you must change, why you must have the motivation. Is it because you're afraid your partner's going to find out, you can't keep lying to them? It's been a year, 5 years, 10 years. Maybe you're afraid you'll never be in a relationship if you can't kick this habit. Maybe you think that you will have problems with your mental and physical health if you don't quit. Maybe you're starting to do things like use at work or use at school, and you're turning into somebody you don't recognize. Whatever it is, you must figure out why you have to quit. What is your must? What does porn risk taking away from you? What does porn risk taking away from you? Luann Z says, but what if I like it and don't want to quit? Honest question. No, I understand, and I can't make you quit, obviously, but there are a huge amount of health issues that we now know about with pornography that we didn't know about even 10, 15 years ago. Here's the question. Why do you like it? Can you stop for 3-4 days without having urges? If you can't, that might be a problem. Or maybe not even might. If you can't go 3-4 days without using, without having urges, you probably have a problem. And this can include addiction. This can include sexual dysfunction. This can include brain damage. This can include objectification of people. This can include all kinds of things. As long as you know what you're getting yourself into, Luanzi, that's fine. That's fine. But just know plenty of things feel great in life that are not good for you. Thank you, so many of you, for clicking up the likes. Hamza's totally seeing 1 million of yours. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. And again, I'm here to answer any questions you may have. User 398, bro, I was doing so well for the last 4 days. Then I was on Twitter and Kanye tweeted corn and I relapsed. I was so disappointed. So you know what you have to do today? You have to go stop following Kanye West. There's no reason to follow him at this point in his career anyway. His best musical days are far behind him. He is clearly going off the deep end. If you don't see an R. Kelly or Diddy kind of ending for Kanye at this point, you're not paying attention. So clearly what you need to do is not follow Kanye on Twitter. And keep in mind, Kanye didn't make you use. You chose to. I read online yesterday that, he was posting porn on his page, and it's like, this guy has problems, but you don't have to be part of them. You don't have to be part of them. Neo Latry, I think that you started to ask a question and the first part didn't come through. This happens because TikTok bans a lot of words. All I see here is, and if yes, what are the treatments possible? Can you re-ask the first part of your question and check to see if there was any word that maybe got filtered because of TikTok censoring? We got a lot of people in here right now. Let me briefly introduce myself for those of you who are new, who haven't been here before. My name is Josh. I was a porn addict for 24 years. I was also an alcoholic for 22 years. I have been almost 11 years clean and sober and relapse-free. I have been working in this area for about 8 years. I've written 4 books, given hundreds of interviews. But 5 years ago, I became a full-time pornography addiction coach, a full-time betrayal trauma coach, and a disclosure specialist. So if I can answer any questions in those areas for you, I am absolutely happy to do that. I also, if you are interested in booking a one-on-one session with me, whether you're the addict, the partner, or you want to meet as a couple, that's totally cool. Go to the front page of my profile, click on the links. There's a link tree, and the first one will give you all that information. Zero, thank you for following me. Thank you for following me very much. Just one tweet made me relapse, for frig's sake. And let's be honest, that tweet didn't make you relapse. You allowed yourself to relapse by seeing it. That's what happened. Zero got a question. That's cool. Go ahead and ask it. Matthew Gregg, going on 40 days. Well, my friend, that is impressive. That is a good streak. Now, what you have to do is figure out, why did you start in the first place? Why did you start using porn? Why did you start using porn in a way that the other people didn't? How come your friends could look at it once, twice a month and walk away? To them, 40 days may mean nothing. Why did you get so hooked on this stuff? What happened in your life? These are the important questions to answer. This is how we get rid of it. We don't use porn as addicts because we love the naked ladies or we love the naked men. Whether we're a man, a woman, rich or poor, fat or thin, whether we live in North America, Asia, Europe, Africa, South America, it doesn't matter. We are all using because we want to get access to the chemicals that are up here. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. These pleasure chemicals we recognize when we were a little kid, or whenever we started using. Most people use now first time around 10 or 11, but we recognize that, oh my God, this makes me feel better. And then we're off to the races. And you've got to figure out, why did you start using? Because here's the thing, Matthew, once you started using, you probably stopped developing in a lot of ways. That's what happens with addiction. You didn't have the proper problem-solving skills. You didn't have the proper anxiety management skills, the proper stress management skills to deal with whatever you were dealing with around the time you started to become a regular user. Once you became a regular user, you didn't need to develop those skills because you had porn. But in time, porn is going to cause you more stress, more anxiety. It's going to make your life worse. It's going to give you brain damage. Porn addiction is a disease. It's a disease because it changes your brain's chemistry. Think about that. Porn addiction is a legit disease. That's a big deal, and that's a reason to take care of things. Hamza, thank you for following me. I appreciate that very much. Zero asks, what if the person can't feel it anymore? Feel it what way? Like you can't get hard, you can't finish, you know, no matter what you do, it's not a big deal. Just curious what you have to say on that. Very true. Kanye has to go. Yeah, and it's true for all of your social media. Keep in mind, you may not like a model on TikTok who you're attracted to. You may not follow them, but if you're sitting there and you're watching their page for 5-6 minutes, the algorithm knows that. TikTok knows what you're doing every step of the way. After I finish one of these lives, I can go look at analytics. I could open my laptop right here and tell you how many likes each one of you have given me. Could tell you what percentage of you are from the US or UK or Canada or wherever. These social media sites follow your every move every second, and they are going to give you content that they think is going to generate money for them. That's what this is about. They don't care if you look at porn or, pictures of kittens or cops arresting people or recipes or whatever the hell else you like to watch on TikTok. They don't care. They just want to make the money off you. So you have to avoid this stuff if you don't want it popping up in your feeds. Dope TARDIS t-shirt. Why, thank you. Thank you. Know what's even cooler than my Dope TARDIS t-shirt? My Dope TARDIS tattoo. Does MSTB cause ED? It can. It absolutely can. It's part of the process of watching porn, of touching yourself, of creating those chemicals. And when you create those chemicals, the thing is, and I won't get too into the science, The brain needs more. The brain needs more, and it needs new stuff. And when you are constantly at a barrage of needing new stuff, it gets tougher to get the process going. At first, you probably can't ejaculate. Then you can't stay hard the whole time. Then you can't get hard at all. There's a process there, and absolutely it causes it. What about literature, says Les Pink Panther, or Les Pink Panther? Maybe you're a lesbian and you're advertising that, or maybe you're just, in love with French articles. Literature, yeah, same thing. If you're using it as pornography, same thing with music, same thing with art. If you are getting those chemicals in your brain from whatever use you have, absolutely. Because it's not about viewing movies. It's not about viewing pictures. It's not about viewing or listening to music or reading a book. It's about how your brain processes that stuff and processes that information. If you are reading, even if it's literature like Lady Chatterley's Lover, and not just, a romance, if you are reading that and you are getting excited, if you are, masturbating to it, if you are using this for sexual stimulus, for escape, it's the same thing. Because ultimately the problem isn't that you love to read sexy stuff. The problem is what that sexy stuff does to your mind, just like the videos. People who are porn addicts, it's not that they love body parts more than the next person. It's not that, they are attracted to genitals or breasts or asses more than the next person. It's that they know if they utilize this stuff, they can get that chemical reaction in their mind they want. So if you're getting that chemical reaction in your mind from the literature as if it was any kind of pornography, I would urge you to consider cutting that out because it's doing the same thing for you. User 3986. I just realized how weird that sentence is. Kanye made me relapse. But yeah, it was my fault. Exactly. What if and you've got to recognize that these are your decisions to make. It's difficult if you're an addict to not make them, to not go in that direction. Your mind is wired to go in that direction. The mind of an addict is different than the mind of a healthy person. And that's important for both the healthy person and the addict to know. What if the person can't feel it anymore? Still asking what that means, Zero. I failed 2 days ago. I'm sorry to hear that, Mir. Do you know why you failed? Do you know why you failed? What happened? What were the voices in your head? What triggered you? What urged you? Only thing that makes me feel something. I'm sure that's not true. That's a story you're telling yourself because it allows you to use it. Go to the gym. Go to, go to the gym. Go for a run. Go see a movie. Take a friend out to dinner. Call your grandma. There's a million things you can do. There's a million things that you can do out there that will make you feel something. Is corn escalation something that actually happens? Absolutely, especially with addicts. Think about this in terms of drinking. Well, I can use myself as an example. I started drinking at 14. At that point, 2 beers could make me feel tipsy. By the time I was getting out of high school, I needed a 6-pack. By the time I was getting out of college, I needed a case. By the time I was 30, beer didn't make me drunk anymore. I had to switch to tequila. When it comes to addictions, you build a tolerance. And addiction has to escalate. So with pornography, what you're probably going to find is that, you're watching vanilla stuff. Then you're watching some, a little bit more hardcore or a little bit more extreme. And it continues to move that way because if you're going to get those chemicals to release in your head, it's not going to be as easy as it once was. Just like a gambling addict may bet $20 a hand of blackjack when they start, but then it has to be 50, and then it has to be 100. And it's not that they're trying to get a bigger high. It's they're trying to get the same high. But your brain gets used to that chemical cocktail, so it has to escalate. It absolutely has to escalate. What if a person can't feel it anymore? The pleasure. Well, I would, if you cannot feel any pleasure, whether it's mental or physical, I would suggest you stop using. Because if you're not getting any pleasure from it, why are you doing it? If you just can't stop yourself, that's clear addiction. Doesn't even really matter you're not getting pleasure. I can tell you, at the end of my 24 years, probably the last 2-3 years, I wasn't getting much pleasure from it. It was just a maintenance routine. If I wanted to go on with my day, there were times I had to stop and at least look at porn, if not masturbate to it. It wasn't pleasurable. I have clients who are like, I wish I could just hit a button and get my dopamine, especially some of the older guys and some of the older ladies who don't want to look, who don't want to masturbate, but who cannot function without those brain chemicals. So that makes total sense, Zero. It really does make total sense. My problem, I keep looking at women on TikTok late at night. How do I stop that? Seriously? You put your phone off to the side and read a book. You play a game on your phone instead of looking at TikTok. Every time a woman on TikTok pops up, you hold down the screen and say, not interested. You watch TV. You don't go to bed until you're dog tired, and when your head hits the pillow, you will fall asleep. You need to change your nighttime routine, Mir. Malachi, thank you for following me. I appreciate that very much. A week won't really help. Well, no, a week won't change a ton, but if it starts, it starts. We have to start somewhere. That's why when people are like, I'm 2 days sober, and people are like, why do you get so excited on people who are 2 days sober? It's because I'm 11 years sober. I had a day too. I know people who are 15, 20 years sober. They had a day too. Anything that has you moving in the right direction has you moving in the right direction. And if you're going to figure out why you don't want to quit, and if you really don't want to quit, that's okay. That's your prerogative. Just don't lie to yourself about it. Credentials, says KB. I am accredited as a pornography addiction coach by taking the continuing education credits required in my state. I am certified as a betrayal trauma coach, having taken the courses offered by the Post-Betrayal Trauma Institute out of New York, and then with my disclosure certification that was taken online through a professional organization. If you want to do any of this, drop me a line and I can tell you about those anymore. I really don't care anymore, to be honest. I don't know if that means you don't care about using porn, or you don't care about getting healthy, whatever that may be. Try to always care. Try to always care about yourself. If there's one thing you can forget politics. You can forget other people. You can forget, the weather. Worry about yourself. Think about yourself. Self-care. Self-love. That's where a lot of these problems start with, because you don't develop those skills. Yes, it will. I literally fixed my FYP like that. Exactly. You can fix your FYP if you want to. But again, you cannot linger on these pages because the TikTok algorithm will know. You have to avoid this stuff. You're right. I need to stop making excuses. Yeah, Yeah. Amen, says Lethu King. Well, I'm glad that you're here. Thank you. What is the long-term side effect? Well, long-term side effect, one of them is addiction. Addiction is a disease. Addiction is a disease of the brain. Long-term side effects in men can be erectile dysfunction. Long-term side effects can be absolutely the way that you view other people as sexual objects. Long-term side effects can be that you are unable to get into or maintain a relationship. It's basically not good all around. Carol Kullberg, amen. Amen. Hey, Oth is here, yay! And she is banning your asses. Good, thank you, Oth. I'm glad you're here. Courtney asks, so if a mind is programmed to look at it, but does that change over time without doing it? Well, it's a two-part thing, Courtney. First is the physical side of things. On the physical side of things, there's not a whole lot that can speed up your recovery except for you not watching and you not masturbating. Your brain, this has this little phenomenon known as neuroplasticity. That means that your brain is going to always be evolving to provide you with the easiest and safest ways of being possible. You know, you wonder how people survive things. Well, your brain takes care of you. Unfortunately, your brain takes care of you with addiction too and says, oh, this makes this person feel good. Oh, using, touching. This person needs this stuff. So your brain actually rewires to make you more susceptible to urges, to triggers. An addict's brain is not like that of a non-user or a casual user. An addict's brain looks very different because there's brain damage going on. So physically, what you have to do is stop looking, stop touching, and your brain and the neuroplasticity will change those neural pathways after a while. That's the physical side. Now, the mental side of things. The mental side of things is really where I work on this. And that is really about figuring out how you became an addict. Odds are, and this is almost every person, man, woman, doesn't matter where they're from, who they are, what their story is, every person who I speak to who is an addict has had something happen when they were young. And they discovered pornography to help them along the way. Wasn't the plan, but that's what ended up happening. And what I do more with my clients once we get the behavior under control is we go look and answer the question, why did you become an addict? And how did you become the person you are today? Your addiction is a trauma response. And trauma is just a fancy way of saying lingering pain, pain that won't go away. If you're gonna you use porn because you still have that lingering pain. Probably other types of lingering pain too. Well, you need to deal with that lingering pain. Once you deal with that, you don't need the porn. Because addiction is a symptom of a bigger problem. Yes, porn is a problem. Porn addiction is a problem. You do need to quit. But just quitting the behavior is fasting. It's dieting. You need to recover. And recovery is figuring out, how did I get to be here in the first place and what do I need to do to fix it? Hope that answers your question. All right. Thank you for following me, Jay. Do you think the parent should share some of the blame for not noticing a shift in the child's behavior? I think that parents need to take some of the blame if they do not explain pornography to their kids in this day and age. It is not the birds and the bees speech. It is more akin to as a kid, you don't smoke cigarettes. As a kid, you don't drink. when you're a grown-up, you can decide what you want to do, but here in this house, we don't do that. And it's not good for you because of A, B, and C, and just being open and clear. I think that's where parents need to share the blame if they are just burying their heads in the sand, or if they're just throwing on a bunch of filters and blockers on the kid's phone and they think that's enough. You can't porn-proof your kid in this world today. However, it's not a matter of if your kid is going to see porn, it's a matter of when. And if you don't know how they're going to react, you have not done your job as a parent, in my opinion. Abe Garcia, thank you for following. Hey, Dylan, glad to see you. I've been here before. You gave me good advice. First 2 weeks were hard. I've been clean for 2 months. That is awesome, Dylan. I am so proud of you. I'm glad to hear that. Can you share what specifically that advice was, just so everybody else can hear it? Obviously I give a lot of advice, so I don't remember what clicked with you. If you can share that here with us. Adam Ali, apparently hypnosis works. Hypnosis works for some people. It's certainly worth trying if you want. Hypnosis doesn't work for everybody, just like 12 steps don't work for everybody, just like a therapist doesn't work for everybody. I urge everybody out there to try as many modalities of healing as possible. I've never seen any two people heal the same way, and I've never seen people just take one way to do it. Usually they need to take more than one modality, figure out what their formula for success is. Hey, Smoothie Buns. How's it going, Coach? I'm at work, just checking in real quick. Well, I don't know if you're still here, but thank you for stopping by, Mr. Smoothie Buns. Always good to see you. Hope you had a great weekend. Abram X, I've been clean for a week, but I'm so tempted. What should I do? Well, ask yourself, how do you feel afterwards? How do you feel afterwards? You will feel that way this time. Why do you want to use? What is using going to fix? Nothing. Whatever your trigger, whatever your urge, it's still going to be there when you're done, and you'll probably have some shame or guilt or whatever it is. And while you're clean right now, why don't you make a list of like 7 things you can do when you get an urge, when you get tempted? Number 1, go be around people. Odds are, if you're around people, you will not be looking, you will not be touching. That's a really big thing to do. But can you read? Can you leave your room? Can you go see a movie? Can you learn the trombone? I mean, it doesn't really matter what you do, but be prepared to do some other things when you get those tempted feelings. And if you're getting triggers and urges, you need to get away from them. Blaine Johnson says, nah, it's going to die with me soon. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, but that's your choice, I guess. And that's the story you're telling yourself, Blaine. If you tell yourself that story, that's what's going to happen. You don't have to be an addict. You don't have to die. You don't have to do any of this. These are the stories you tell yourself. And if you're feeling way low, please call the unaliving prevention hotline. Hi, Michael. I struggle a lot with it. Certainly understand you're in the right place. Courtney says, my ex cheated on me with some weird stuff. I wanted to understand, and somehow it blocked out the pain. Well, did you really block out the pain, or did you just kind of put it on a shelf and not deal with it? Because what happens with a lot of partners is that they end up, having to deal with the betrayal, having to deal with the trauma. A year from now, are you going to be wondering, well, why was it that weird stuff? And how can I trust men again? Or maybe you're not freaked out at all. I don't know. If you worked through the pain, that's one thing. If you blocked the pain, that's another. Hello, Rebecca Chavez. Are you married? I am for 22 years now. Do you have children? Yes, I have two children who are young adults. One is in college, and they're both in college, and they're both almost about to finish, even though they're a few years apart in age. What if you know, hey, Oth, what if you know you have a problem, but it's not really affecting your life? Well, I guess I liken it to a problem in your body or a problem in your car. The moment there's a problem, you should go get it taken care of, because problems only compound. Oh, there's a ticking in my car. Well, that ticking becomes a rumbling. That rumbling becomes a major problem. If only you'd brought it to the garage earlier. You're having a little bit of pain in your chest. Well, if you go to a doctor now and, get x-rays and blood tests, maybe they'll find something and they'll give you some meds and you'll be fine. Or you put it off, a little bit of pain, whatever, and then 2 months from now you have a heart attack. If you know you have a problem, you owe it to yourself to investigate, to learn more, and to deal with it immediately. Putting it off is only going to result in a tougher comeback, a tougher recovery. Whether it's your body, whether it's your mind, whether it's your car, whatever it is in life, you need to do. It's like when you get a little, a pebble hits your windshield and it's just a spot. You can go and, go somewhere, deal with that spot, $99. Or you let it go, and over time it cracks, and you have to replace the whole windshield. Hundreds of dollars. If you just would deal with it early. Michael Peterson, I've been trying to get away from it, but I just keep finding myself back there. Well, that is a choice. Why aren't you finding yourself elsewhere? What is it that you're going there to try to escape? What is it that you're going there because you can't control it in your real life? Something making you sad, angry, afraid? Can you just not function without those chemicals at this point? Because, people do reach that point. I certainly did. Why do you keep finding yourself back there? That's the big question. You are welcome, Dylan. 12 steps didn't work for me, says Mir. And I'll be honest with you, dude, they didn't work for me very much either. I went to AA for about 9 months. I went to SAA, that's Sex Addicts Anonymous, for about 6 months. And I found that the basics of those programs were very good, were very strong, but they didn't deal with the real science of it. They didn't deal with the deeper trauma of it. They dealt with the don't want to drink, don't want to drink, don't want to drink, don't use porn, don't cheat, don't use porn, don't cheat. But there were very few real answers other than white knuckling. And you know what? If that works for the people who are there, that's great. But I saw people who were there 10, 15 years, and they were just as much addicts today as they were 10, 15 years ago. They just don't use. But their mind hasn't been fixed. Their mind hasn't healed. And after hanging around these people for so long, it's like, I'm not going to recover if I stay here around this type of person who heals this way. And like I said, if you heal that way, fantastic. Stick with it. But if you don't, if it's not working, you have to find something else. Good morning, Angel. Glad to see you. Do those unaliving hotlines try to find you and take you to the mental hospital? I have no idea, Ash Tinks. I have no idea. I know that there are, most of them, I think, are anonymous at this point. But there are states that can Baker Act you. There are states that can 5150 you. I don't know if they can come from a unaliving hotline or not. I just don't have those answers, and I apologize. Michael Peterson followed the live creator. Thank you, sir. What did you study in college, E92 bro? I studied communications and specifically journalism. Prior to entering recovery, I was a journalist and an editor for various newspapers and magazines for over 20 years. That's how I got to be a good asker of questions and a good listener. That's the biggest job of a reporter. Damn, of course this pops up right after I watched. Well, Johan, do you think that you might use again? If you do, then follow me and go watch my videos. Find a couple you like, save them, so when you get the urge again, you can look at those videos. You know, it sucks that you caught this, at the other end of using today, but you're either never going to use again, which is fantastic, or you are going to use again, but you can take what you learn here and move it forward. If they find nothing, that's weight off your mind. What do you mean, Jared? Tyreek, been binging recently. Why? What's going on? What can't you handle? I'm not going to come down on you, but if you're binging again, are you moving further away from recovery, or are you moving closer towards it? And that's a question you really have to ask yourself, Tyreek. Ethan, surely if you know you have a problem, it's maybe affecting you in ways you don't realize. Oh, absolutely, Ethan. Absolutely. During my first session with people, it's amazing how often I tell them some very obvious things about them from only talking to them for 45 minutes. I can sum up a lot of things about their life. Because I've worked with so many people, and that opens a lot of people's eyes. Oh my God, I hadn't thought of that. Oh my God, that's so obvious. Yeah, but sometimes, you think everything is fine, everything is calm. But do you know where it's calm? In the middle of a storm, in the eye of a storm. If you've ever been in a hurricane, I was once where the eye passed right over me, and it gets effing weird because it goes from wind and torrential rains to, in the matter of about 5 minutes, nothing. Blue sky above. Little bit of a breeze, but it's just eerie. And then a few minutes later, here comes the back end, and the tornado or the hurricane's going again. Well, if you stay in that eye, you may not realize there's a huge storm going on around you. And that's a lot of what you don't realize. One of the things, Ethan, is when I do the work in the trauma with people, when we get to that part of things, there's a lot that they often don't realize is going on. And if anybody here does want to do some of that trauma work, if anybody here wants tips and techniques to stop the behavior so they can work on the deeper stuff of why did you become an addict? How did you become the person you are today? How do you fix what you don't like about yourself? How do you write your plan for what you want out of your life moving forward? I can help you with all of that. I've helped people for the last 5 years, hundreds of them. Just visit the front page of my profile, look at the link that says Linktree, click on that, and then the first one is the how to book with me. And also, if you've never clicked on that Linktree, all of my social media is there. I'm on like 4 or 5 different apps. You can also get a link to my website. You can also get a link to my books on Amazon. And that includes YouTube, which I just uploaded 6 more of these lives that I did earlier this month onto my YouTube page. So if you're driving down the road or you just are having a weak moment and you're like I think it was John who said, oh, I wish I would have just saw this. If you're having a weak moment, go to my YouTube page and watch one of these. There's now like 23 of them there. Connor B, hi. Is the goal to get people to quit corn, or are we encouraging this here? Well, I think you've probably been here long enough that we're trying to have people quit. Tyreek says, my therapist kept suggesting 12 steps, but I went for months and it didn't fix anything. Being 5150 is the reason why many people don't open up to therapists and such. Yeah, it's in Maine here. I had never heard of Baker Act. I've never heard of 5150 because we don't have them here. It's a hell of a process to get somebody with mental health issues to get help, force them to get help. That's probably one of the reasons why about a year and a half ago we had the 10th deadliest mass shooting in history of the U.S. right in my town. 7 different people called to get this guy mental help, but the police couldn't do anything because he hadn't done anything. It's the same thing. Like if you're feeling really depressed and horrible, if you have half a brain and somebody asks you, are you thinking of unaliving yourself? To say no matter how you're feeling. We have this culture of not being able to answer our mental health questions directly because people are, the people with control, the doctors, the therapists, the people on that side of things will take steps that we don't want them to take. So absolutely, that's why people don't open up. And that's why I think people like coming and talking to me, is because you can tell me whatever you want. You can tell me whatever you want. And I'm not going to make you feel embarrassed. I'm not going to make you feel ashamed. I'm not going to look up, I don't have the authority to call up anybody and say, you need to 5150 this one. That's not me, and that doesn't help anyway. Stumpy112, thank you for following me. Boy, Oth, this is a busy day for muting people. I guess their Monday makes people not behave. What time is it? TIME, please, if someone can tell me. Oth says, I hate that I'm like this. I swear I get addicted to everything. Well, 154, thank ya. Well, the question is, why? Is it because you're activating those chemicals in your mind? Is it, thank you, Tyreek. Is it because you are trying to escape something? Is it because you don't have the stress and anxiety management skills? And I get what you're saying, Tyreek. It is exhausting. I was the most... I can go back and look at my compulsive behaviors. When I was a 12-year-old kid and collected baseball cards, I wanted more than everybody. So I ended up collecting like over 100,000. When a few years later, I decided, I wasn't a video game kid. But screw this. I've got Zelda on the Super Nintendo. I'm going to finish a game for once in my life. And I did in about 3 days. Just because I wanted to get it done. I have always been super compulsive. It just travels with you. But what you can do is learn to use that as a power. If you can focus on something the way other people can't, if you can get into a project the way other people can't, use that as a positive. Instead of spending all that time looking at porn, now I'm using my experience and the knowledge that I've gained through years of research to help people. I'm now sort of compulsive with helping people. I now use this manic, behavior I have. Instead of making dumb decisions out there, I'm making good decisions and using how I am for the positive. There's a book out there by a woman who used to be a professional wrestler. She's married to a wrestler named CM Punk. She wrestled as AJ Lee. Her real name is April Menendez, and I believe. And she's bipolar, like myself. And she wrote a book, and I love the title. It's called Crazy is My Superpower. You just have to learn to harness what it is that makes you special, that makes you different. and then try to make that work for you. If I'm going to be into projects, if I'm going to hyper focus on something, I might as well make it something that helps other people. I might as well make it something that can be my career. I might as well make it something that does good in the world, because I could just as easily move to the other side. Johan, or Johan, however you say it. Sometimes on bad days, I'll watch 3 times a day and I feel like I can't stop myself. I'm familiar with a lot of people saying that, and I'm familiar with feeling that way. I don't know if I ever used 3 times a day. I certainly did use twice a day many times. The question is, what does it do to make you feel good after? Why are you doing it? What's going on? I'm curious, if you can stop and pause and look, why are you using? Maybe what you need to do, Johan, or let me know which one to call you. This is where we talk about the urge journal. So you sometimes watch 3 times a day, but I bet you have urges 12 times a day. Keep track of them. What time do you have an urge? Whether you use or not, what time do you have an urge? Where are you when you have that urge? And what has gone on the last 10, 15 minutes, either with something happening around you or with your mindset? Now, if you have 12 urges a day, at the end of 7 days, that's going to be 90 pieces of data to look at. You're going to see you use at certain times you don't realize. You're going to see you use in certain places you may not realize. You're going to see there may be reasons why you use you don't realize. Or you at least get triggered or have urges you don't recognize, whether you use or not. Make an urge journal and start looking at it and start analyzing it. Data, math, science. These are all things that can be used for your advantage. I just had a great session with someone right before this. And, we talked about it really, we're not going to get him to stop using right now. We're going to get him to stop using half as much on week 1. Because more importantly than stopping his use completely is figuring out, why does he use? And he told me he uses almost twice every day. Okay, so that's 14 times a week. I said to him, you can use 3 times this week. Guilt-free. But what I want you to do is I want you to recognize all of those times that you used to use. Those 11 times that you would use otherwise. When you choose not to use this week, why do you choose not to? Or why do you choose to use? Let's figure, if you can't use whenever you want, what is the criteria for you using? There's a lot of detective work. Oh, where's that little dog? I don't know. Okay, anyway. So yeah, I think I hope that explains it for you. You've got to figure out what's going on. A lot of this is detective work. A lot of this is research up front. Instead of just throwing darts, into the air and hoping we hit something, let's do some work and figure out what are we attacking here. Let's take a very measured, intellectual way of doing this. Tyreek says, I'm going to definitely schedule a session with you once I get some money. Great. I would love to see you, Tyreek. I would love to see you. Oth says, I don't know, some things I know I do because of stress. Well, okay. When you feel stressed and you go to one of your addictions, Are you doing it so you can feel control over the stress? Are you doing it so you can escape the stress? Are you doing it, so you can, feel better about yourself having to deal with the stress? Look at what's happening when you're using. Or I'm sorry, look at what's happening when you start getting stressed out. What is it your body's looking for? Ethan says, can loneliness be a big part of it? Oh, yeah. But then it's also dragging from wanting to be in a relationship. Yep, absolutely, Ethan. Some people quit porn because they're in a relationship and their partner may not know and they're afraid they're going to get found out. Or their partner may know, but they are afraid the partner is not going to wait around forever for them to quit. So they quit because they want to stay in a relationship. Of course, there are also people who aren't in a relationship and are like, I want to be in one, but I don't want to start a relationship as a porn addict. I want to be in recovery. I want to not be using before I get into a relationship. And yeah, that may make you lonely now, and lonely may make you want to use. But wouldn't it be better to be lonely over the next year than to be lonely over the next 50 years? Or 30 years or whatever? You have to invest in yourself, and quitting is also investing in your future. My dumbass didn't stop using or get into recovery till I was 37. I lost all my 20s. I lost 2/3 of my 30s. I so wish I would have got into this earlier so I would have had more good years. But here I am, 11 years later. I feel great. I've never felt this good. Mentally, physically, emotionally, socially, spiritually, creatively, you name it, I feel better than I ever did when I was using. And now, instead of getting crazy lonely when I'm by myself, instead of trying to not be by myself, because that's when you have to deal with who you really are, I love being by myself. I work from home now. And, if I have 2 hours between sessions and nothing I have to do pressing, I don't mind spending an hour and a half alone. I like that because I can now. I don't get lonely anymore. I love my company. But I didn't really like who I was. I didn't respect myself. I didn't love myself back then, so I didn't want to be by myself. Now that I do have those things, it's much better. I am going to catch up with everybody's comments. I promise. I know I'm falling behind. I apologize. Please keep clicking up those likes. We're almost at 10,000. That would be cool if we did that before I called it an afternoon. Because I have an interview to do next with a podcast, and then I have 2 more sessions. Will the thoughts of doing corn disappear after a while of getting off of it? Yeah. Because we deal with why you are having those thoughts. Pornography addiction is not your main problem. Just quitting, looking, and touching doesn't deal with the main problem. That's not recovery. That's fasting. That's starving yourself. Look at it in terms of somebody who's overweight, grossly overweight. Do they like food more than you and I? Probably not. But they know food activates those chemicals in their mind and makes them feel better. It's consistent. They can count on it. They can do everything they need to do. But going on a diet is just not putting more food into you. The bigger question is, why did you get to be 500 pounds or 600 pounds? That's more important to figure out. Much like with pornography. It's not why do you want to watch? We know why you want to watch. We know what feels good. But what happened early on before you developed certain skills of coping, certain skills of behavior modification? You became an addict. And if you can get rid of the reasons why you became a porn addict, then you will be able to completely recover and not have thoughts of it. I mean, I don't. Even at the time that somebody sends me porn, which happens much more than I wish, or at a time that I have to go onto a porn website to find some piece of information, I don't use the pornography. I don't want to see it. I don't have urges to see it, triggers to see it. I don't have urges to use it. I don't have triggers to use it because the reasons I did use are gone now. And if the reasons I needed to use are gone, I don't need to use. I don't feel like that's the case, okay, but I spend all day thinking about the next time I can have it. Is that alcohol? Is that what you're suggesting, off? Well, you have a big market. Corn has made an addict of most people in various ways. Oh yeah, Stumpy. If you saw the statistics of when I became a porn addict to when to what's going on now, whew, it is blown up 1,000-fold. Nights I have friends over, I regret inviting them because I'd just rather drink. Well, if they're not having you drink, then perhaps it's better that you have friends over. And what do you get out of the drinking aside from a sense of numbness? You know, are you hungover in the morning? Do you have headaches? It's empty calories. What does it actually fix? What if you just had ginger ale? I mean, I know that seems silly, but why do you need to drink? Guy Godot, thank you for sharing the live. That always helps get viewers in. Thank you very much. Kyle asks, why is corn so bad? Well, I mean, it's not bad in and of itself. It's unhealthy. It's unhealthy because it can cause addiction. It causes addiction in about 1 out of 5 to 6 men. It causes addiction in about 1 out of 8 women who use pornography. This can lead to, the addiction can lead to brain damage. The addiction leads to a whole bunch of other problems. But even if you're not an addict, you can develop sexual issues. If you're young and get on pornography, it may be how you determine, your attitudes towards sex. The biggest 5-year usership of pornography is 12 to 17-year-olds. These are people who are learning about sexuality. And let's be honest, if you haven't been in a normal sexual relationship or a healthy sexual relationship, and all you have to go on is porn, that's not normal. That's not healthy. I have talked with many porn stars, many who follow me. I've seen people who I know are porn stars in here. I just don't out them. And they've told me, that the way we have sex on screen is not actually us having sex. It's us having sex for a minute and then changing the lighting for 10 minutes. And then us having sex for another minute and then changing the lighting. But you have a 12-year-old boy watching this stuff 2 hours a day. He doesn't know that. He thinks every woman wants to do it in the butt. He thinks every woman wants to have, be finished on her face. He thinks that it's just a matter of saying, hey, let's talk to your best friend and you've got a 3-way going. Those of us who are a little older, a little more experienced, know that's not reality. Broke Cheese Boy. That's an interesting name. Thank you for following me. Ott says, a lot of times I don't even want to because I do feel good, but I do anyways. Well, then do you need to not have it in the house? If it's 9 o'clock at night, will you go buy some? Or if you don't have it in the house, will you be too tired, too lazy, too whatever to not go get it? If part of the problem is access, make sure you don't have access. I came in for a session and told him I was relapsing. Okay, Tyreek. Or maybe he got fatigue of hearing me say I've relapsed the past 7 years of seeing him. Well, Tyreek, is seeing him working? At least for, maybe seeing him works for a bunch of other stuff, but I would suggest that whatever he's telling you about pornography, or pornography addiction isn't clicking with you. Maybe a wonderful person, but whatever it is that he's saying just doesn't click with you, which is okay. Not everybody clicks with everybody. There are some times where I'll be at the end of a session, first time session with someone, and I can tell they're not coming back. We didn't click. My methods are not what works for them. They want to try something else. They're not ready. Whatever it is, that's cool. You have to find somebody you click with. I don't care if they went to Harvard or they are a homeless guy who lives under a bridge. If they help you, they help you. Doesn't matter what kind of piece of paper they have on the wall. Borrego, thank you for sharing this. Appreciate that. Appreciate all of you for sharing this. Appreciate all of you for tapping up those likes. 11,000 is awesome. Appreciate that very, 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 very much. And as always, if any of you do need a one-on-one session, if any of you would like to sit down with me, whether you are an addict, whether you are the partner of an addict dealing with betrayal trauma, or you want to sit down as a couple and talk to me about communication, about trust, I am certified in all of those areas. Just visit the front page of my profile and click on the link tree. It's your first option. Hey, James. Maybe too personal? Well, hard for me to go there. Maybe too personal, but do you still get urges? I'm 1 year, 2 months clean, and I still get some. Well, James, let's look at it this way. Are you getting urges from pornography or for pornography? Or are you getting urges because you're a man with sexuality? Being horny, wanting to get off because you have sexuality is very different than having that addictive itch. When I was an addict, I still wanted to be with my wife. And it wasn't because I got, all those chemicals from having sex with her. It was a totally different reasons I had sex with her. Those urges were normal sexual urges. And we all have them. The idea of recovery is not to kill your sexuality. It's not to kill you ever wanting to have sex again. It's about getting it back to a healthy place. So what I would ask is, when you consider those urges, are those just normal run-of-the-mill urges a guy gets? Chet Stedman, good name. Kanye posted and I relapsed. Somebody else was in here earlier and mentioned that, and I'll say what I said to them. Number one, Kanye can't make you relapse. Nobody can make you relapse by you. It's a decision you make. I don't care if Kanye or Donald Trump or The Rock or the Rolling Stones post pornography on Twitter. You do not have to use the pornography. Nobody else made you do it. Number two, Kanye's clearly not a healthy person. We've known this for a long time. If you don't see some kind of R. Kelly or Diddy ending to Kanye's story, you're not paying attention. It's not going to end well for this guy. So don't follow him. He hasn't made a decent song in years anyway. Stop following him. Go listen to his old stuff. But, why do you need to follow Kanye? Stop it and you won't see the porn that he posts. How long will you be on? Only a few more minutes, FUICU. But if you go and follow, if you go and look at my links, If you click on my YouTube link, I've got almost 25 of these these live videos posted there, including I just put up 6 new ones yesterday. So even if I'm only here a little bit, I would urge you to, number one, follow me so you'll be informed when I go live again. And if you are already doing that, go check out my YouTube page. Obviously, it's, youtube.com/the @ symbol and that corn coach. And you can watch these all day long if you want. If you're like, man, I wish he was online right now and I could hear some of this, go to my YouTube page and you'll find plenty of these that you can listen to. There's 10K. Yeah, Andrew, isn't that awesome? And it's now we're at 11. What do you substitute for corn? Healthy things? Exercise, hanging out with friends and family, doing other things like going to concerts that give me dopamine in anticipation. And once I'm there, traveling, which I love to do, anticipation in there. I foster dogs and cats all the time. That it raises my oxytocin and my serotonin. Taking care of animals for just a few weeks. Right now, I've got 2 dogs on the bed next to me, 2 adult dogs who I'm only watching for like 2 weeks. I can't show them to you because it's part of the contract, because it's not just a typical foster situation. I can't have anybody recognizing the dogs for a few different things, but that gives me oxytocin. That gives me serotonin. You're not going to find any one thing that's a substitute because you're not supposed to get that amount of chemicals. That's bad for you. It's like, what do I substitute with alcohol? I don't know, 5 different things, because you're not supposed to get the high you get. You're not supposed to have that toxic amount of chemicals hitting you. The problem is not really the porn. The problem is the desire for those chemicals in your head. Some people get it from gambling. Some people get it from food. Some people get it from sex or porn. Some people get it from video games. There's plenty of ways to get it. One of the things that I have to pay attention to with my clients is that they don't switch addictions. And that happens a lot in the betrayal trauma situations, where a partner's like, you need to stop using, porn. It causes betrayal. And the partner who's using will quit. But then they'll move on to alcohol. They'll move on to video games. And their partner's like, he's not looking at porn anymore. Yeah, that's great, I guess. But if they're still addicted or if they're addicted now to alcohol, if they're addicted now to video games, in the long run, that's no different. Sure, you feel better he's not looking at pictures of naked girls, or sure, you feel better she's not looking at pictures of naked guys. But if they still have activities that cause those chemicals to be created, that's not getting healthy. Michael Peterson, I am glad I came across your page. Thank you. Ash Tinks, still glad you're here. I think the real numbers of addict habitual users could be higher. Absolutely. I just posted a video right before I came on here that was a statistic I saw recently from a 2019 study about men who were like 18 to 24, 18 to 25 in France, who they were going to do a study on men who use porn and men who don't use porn. They couldn't find very many people who didn't use porn in that age group. It was something like 97% did use. When you see these figures out there that are like 4% of people are porn addicts, no, it's not that low. I wish it were, but it's not that low. In men, it's like triple, quadruple that. I think you're absolutely right, Ash. I think most of the time we can probably guess that these numbers are 10 to 30% lower than they actually are. I got on it at 12. Me too, Prime Nate. Wish it didn't happen. Me too, Prime Nate. But you can get off of this stuff. I started at 12. I waited frickin' 24 years. It wasn't until I was 36, 37 that I finally entered recovery. Not just bullshit attempts at quitting, but real recovery. And yeah, 12 years old. And you know what's funny is when I got into it at 12, that was early to see it for the first time. The average guy saw it at 13. The average girl saw it at 14 back then. Now the average guy sees it at 10. The average girl sees it at 11. I tried to replace it by going to the gym, says Mandeezy. I now have less urges. I'm over 3 months clean now. That's awesome, Mandeezy. Congratulations. I'm glad that you found a healthy way to do this. I'm glad that you are getting it under control. Good for you. Good for you. Hey, Ahmad. Glad you're here. Thanks for being here. Ratchimble followed me, and I want to thank you for it. OD85 shared this. I want to thank you for that. You're right. Kanye is washed now. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, I mean, he is. It's. I wish he wasn't, because God, he was brilliant. I thought he was going to bring rap to the next level once you had the Dre's and the Snoops and even Eminem starting to really slow down their output. I thought that, Kanye and some of those guys, Chris Brown, were going to be the next level of hip-hop. And, no. Jitterzurl. I don't want to whack it till I see this stream. Well, I am a handsome man, so I understand it. But maybe you should not watch this stream if I cause you to want to masturbate. I'm whacking it for the last time tonight. Good. So what's the plan tomorrow when you get an urge? Plan for this. You know you're going to get triggered. You know you're going to get an urge. What happens tomorrow night when your brain and body tell you, just one more time, come on? Plan for this. Plan what's going to happen when you get urges. And best of luck. Best of luck. Ahmad says, I'm almost a month clean now. That's awesome. Got to run, Josh. Catch you later. Thank you for being here. Off. I'm going to be getting off of here in a few minutes, too. Thank you for being here. You put in a lot of work today. Isn't it funny how many more people need to be banned during the day than have to be banned at night? Canned Tomato Soup says, I'm having bad cravings today. How should I stop myself? Well, number one, try not to be around the material. Number two, try not to be alone with whatever device you access the material on. If you're around people, odds are you're not going to use. Odds are you're not going to look. Odds are you're not going to touch yourself. So try to be around other people today. Or find an activity in public. Go to the movies. Go to a diner. Go to the library. Go to the mall. Go to the park. There are a million other things you can do. You have to disrupt whatever your patterns are today. And maybe think about, why are the cravings strong today? What's going on in your life? Stress, anxiety, problems, sadness, anger, frustration. What's going on that's causing today to be so much rougher? Because there probably is a way to help ease that. But I promise you it has nothing to do with naked people and masturbation. Rybo, thank you for sharing the live. Appreciate that. Josh, is it okay to still have real intercourse during NoFap? Well, number one, don't follow NoFap because it's bullshit. There's no science involved. It's kind of just turned into this weird, sexually frustrated Matrix fan club. So forget that. And yes, it's absolutely okay to have real intercourse. Unless you're a sex addict. Or an intercourse addict. But yeah, sex with your partner? Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, I encourage people to do it. Thank you for following me, Thomas Hancock 272. I appreciate that. Joe Blow 85. He's been watched for years. Kanye. Yeah, absolutely. Was corn created by the elites? No, corn was created tens of thousands of years ago. Pretty much as long as we could draw on a cave wall, we've created depictions of nudity. You know, look back to the 1200s, 1300s, 1400s. Some of those great painters, nudes were what they painted. And it's not that they had other means of technology to see naked people. Painting was basically it. You can go back, I think it's like 27,000 years. Archaeologists found little figures. One of them's called the Venus of Willendorf. It's like this little figure this big that, looks like a naked lady with actually accentuated breast size. And people believe that was used in masturbation and other pornographic reasons way back when. Go to a museum, go to an art gallery, look at their ancient medieval exhibit. On the side of the pottery and some of the other carvings from, ancient Egypt and Sumeria and Mesopotamia, you're going to see some pretty pornographic things. It's been around forever. This is why when people say, why don't we just ban it? You're not going to ban something that is sort of naturally part of people. Being curious, being interested in seeing depictions of sexuality does not make you weird or perverted. That happens, usually especially around puberty. But they didn't have high-speed internet back then. And that's what's causing so many people to be addicts these days. We have these little private phones with high-speed internet. I remember back around 1994, 1995, when I first, God, 30 years I've been on the internet. I was the first person I knew with an email address. And of course, as a porn addict, even back then, I found porn on the internet. But downloading it, oh my crap. 5 minutes to get a single photo? I didn't really use the internet for porn back then. It took too long. Now, it's instantaneous. So no, it wasn't created by the elites. It's just sort of always been there. Tyler Black, thank you for following me. There's no last time. Well, there is a last time if you make it the last time. But the beard is gone. Yeah, I shaved today. I also cut my hair today. So I'm trying to be a little bit more presentable. My wife always points, hey, your hair's getting shaggy. Your beard's getting shaggy. You're starting to get that Charles Manson look. I don't have a swastika carved into my head. I'm not crazy. How that actually really helped. Thank you. Wow. No problem, canned tomato soup. If you need anything, let me know. If you want a one-on-one session, let me know. We never did the 90-day abstinence or anything like that. It just didn't seem like a good idea. Yeah, as far as sex, intercourse, I don't think you need to. I really don't think you need to. I think having intercourse in a healthy way with your partner is probably going to help more than it's going to hurt. And I know it's a controversial area. Some people will say you don't have any sex for 90 days. Don't have any sex for 6 months. You can cuddle, but don't, have sexual intimacy. You know yourself better than anybody else. If you can be honest with yourself, which is a big, big problem for addicts, we're very good at rationalizing. We're very good at minimizing. We're very good at convincing ourselves to do whatever, to, be whoever we need to be. But I agree with you. To the stroker statue. I don't know what that means. Can I have a one-on-one right now? I can't do it right now because I have a podcast that I have to do in less than 30 minutes, but you could have a one-on-one later in the day. All you have to do is go to the front page of my profile, click on the link that says Linktree, and then you'll get a bunch of links. The first one is booking a session with me. I think you could probably have one, as soon as 3-4 hours. I found NoFap when I was 16, I think. Yeah. NoFap is a bunch of guys who don't want to deal with the real problem. They want to be masculine men, but have no idea how to be. A lot of NoFap, the culture is to blame women for their problems. It's kind of that whole Andrew Tate bullshit stuff. And, good for Andrew Tate for selling all of his programs to guys who will never have a life like him, which is probably good because he's under indictment. But yeah, no, there's nothing to NoFap. Obviously, intercourse with prostitutes and one-night stands is unhealthy, and that's a no. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But there are people who are intercourse addicts who will do that. They could have the sexiest wife in the world. They could have the most handsome husband in the world, smartest person, rich, funny, whatever it is. But they will go have risky sex because that, if they're an intercourse addict, that's what they're addicted to. Are you going to participate in Jerk Make Ranked? I don't know what that means. I don't want to know what that means. And I am going to mute you right now. I just muted you. You can hang out here still. But yeah, we don't talk about that kind of shit in here. A lot of grifter types with the NoFap stuff. Absolutely. Seemed like a pipeline to the alpha male content. Exactly. Hey, guys. And usually these guys have had so much trauma, they can't talk to girls. They've had so much trauma that, they're not going to go to the gym and get, buff. They're not going to become entrepreneurs to make a lot of money. Most of these guys are going to not have a wonderful life because they're following pseudoscience. That's just trying to sell them more shit to make them into the alpha male. The alpha male doesn't have to learn how to be the alpha male. It's like the smartest guy in the room doesn't have to tell anybody he's the smartest guy in the room. If anybody knows the people at Celsius, I want a sponsorship. I need a wife that will give me money. Well, I guess you have your priorities. I got hooked into that for other reasons. So weird. Yeah, and there are many different ways to get hooked in there, but, that's when I have to deal with hate from the Andrew Tate types. It's always like, and what color is your Bugatti? Same color as yours. We don't have them. People are addicted to corn. Well, what we mean, Cool Chud, is porn, because you can't write the word porn on TikTok, unfortunately. They convinced me I would get superpowers. Yeah, I know. Ugh. And they get into the red pill shit, and yeah, exactly. Like you're going to transcend. Well, I love it when they're, what? You've just got these guys out there, where they Chads. You've just got these guys out there, these Chads who the girls go for. Girls don't go for a guy like me. Well, you don't maintain your appearance or your hygiene. You don't have a job, so you don't have much money. Maybe you're overweight. Maybe you're not funny. Maybe you're a horrible dresser. Maybe you're not a good conversationalist. And you want to blame the women. When I was younger, if you were those things, you tried to fix them. You just didn't blame other people. Gee, a woman wants a smart, funny, good-looking, successful partner? How dare she? Come on. Poor you. Poor you. Pickup artist and the like, yeah. I am a Chad. Girls go for me. Well, good job for you, dad jokes. Good job for you. I hope you find the woman of your dreams that way. Hey, I would love to stay here and keep talking to you all day long, but I have to go and be a guest on a podcast here in a few seconds or a few minutes. And I need to do a couple quick things before that. So, I'm going to get going at this point. If you're not following me, please do. If you've enjoyed this, if you want to hear more, please follow me. And when I am making videos or when I'm going live, you will be alerted if you're liking this at all. So do please follow me. When you see my videos, please hit up some likes. That always helps get them out to more people. Meat Sauce asks, what pod? I gotta be honest with you, I'm not sure. I have been a guest on over 500 podcasts going back to 2018. Some podcasts have 25,000 listeners, some have 25 listeners. Doesn't really matter to me. I had a corn addiction once. I beat it. Oh, that's good. Well, thank you for coming. Have fun with that. Good day. Thank you. Have a good one. Thank you, Joe. See what I did there? Yeah, you don't have to point that out to me. Look at this guy flexing alpha moves. Yeah. Thank you for following me, Dad Jokes. Appreciate that. Anybody needs some one-on-one, visit the front page of my profile. Anybody wants to follow me on social media, go to the front page of my profile, click on the links. It was great having you all here. Thank you very much. I will be back tomorrow if all goes according to plan. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you need anything, I'm not a difficult dude to find. Talk to you later.